President Zelenskyy does not disappoint. As many times as he's made these speeches, he really knows how to have an impact. And this time it was the U.S. Congress. He addressed a joint session this morning and had a powerful, rousing, not just his speech, but the entire presentation, including a video that he played.
Which really goes to his training before he went into politics, because he understood the power of these videos and images, and it was searing, but it was also just rousing, inspiring, that you need to help this country from this brutal aggression by Russia. And it was, he's just one of the most remarkable people in my lifetime. I just not seen anything quite like it.
Here is just a little bit of that speech.
President Biden, you are the leader of the nation, of your great nation. I wish you to be the leader of the world. Being the leader of the world means to be the leader of peace. Thank you. Slava Ukraine.
Glory to Ukraine.
As we said, before he wrapped up that speech, he had actually taken a bit of a break to present this video that they had put together, which really just showed, quite frankly, the horrors of war. First, they started out showing these thriving Ukrainian cities and their citizens, and then it went to, Russia shelling these innocent civilians, which are war crimes.
And we've seen some of these images, but the fact that this is coming from him and the way it was put together, it was just so moving. So now the question, what is going to happen? What is the United States going to do? And what is Congress going to do, which leads us to our guest?
Yes, Congressman Mike Quigley from Illinois, representing 5th District, that's Chicago. He was there listening to President Zelenskyy's speech. He is joining us right now. And Congressman Quigley, I understand that you have had some conversations with President Zelenskyy before today. So we want to get into that. Thank you so much for joining us on TMZ Live.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Look, in Chicago, I represent Ukrainian Village for a couple decades now, and these get beyond being constituents, they become friends, and very powerful moments speaking to our counterparts, the members of parliament in Ukraine, as well as President Zelenskyy in Zoom calls so far. Extraordinarily powerful. The one a week ago, Saturday, clearly evoked memories of Churchill speaking during the Blitz. And it's interesting, frankly, Zelensky's probably at much greater peril himself with what he's doing and how he's leading his nation than Churchill was during the bombing.
I got to tell you, Congressman, in my lifetime, I can't remember a world leader who has galvanized this kind of support and admiration almost instantly worldwide. Why do you think that is? I mean, I realize that there is this element of bravery and he's a man of the people, but it even feels bigger than that to me.
Yeah, who knew? I mean, let's remember, this was, our perceptions are often so wrong, right? This was an actor, a comedian. But does the role make the person or vice versa? It's been extraordinary. And I will tell you, I firmly believe that the world underrated him, but clearly President Putin underrated him. His valor, his ability to unite. Just months ago, the West was fragmented, NATO was in tatters, and today it's just the opposite. And Putin is considered a war criminal, and the man he thought as weak, Zelenskyy, is a worldwide hero.
Yeah,
you're right about how things have flipped. But I wanted to ask you about this conversation you had with President Zelenskyy, and I imagine that you discussed a lot of the things that he requested from Congress today. What did you say to him about getting more military aid? Obviously, there's humanitarian aid pouring in for Ukrainian refugees, but as far as military aid, what conversations did you have with him?
There was a large group of members having a Zoom call a week ago, Saturday, talking about this in general. So our conversations were specifically about the kind of aid they needed. And when a member asked him, aren't the javelins and Stingers enough? He said, well, they don't take down bombers. They don't take down jets. It was a very practical give and take. The details of what he was asking for are important, but the power of his message moved people, including myself, to support measures I hadn't previously.
Like what? Like what?
He said, please don't let them exterminate us. You are our last great hope. You know, he was speaking for the souls of millions who gave their last full measure of devotion, 80 years ago in the Second World War, and my grandfather who fought in the First World War against fascism, against both he and Churchill. Again, we're talking about something much bigger than just their own country. It is the notion of defending sovereign democratic countries. Extraordinarily inspiring. So at that point, you get past the nuance of, are they a member of NATO or not? When you see a little baby pulled from rubble, if you see a father hold their dead child's hand with a cover over them, does it really matter to you that their father lives in a country that isn't part of NATO? Because what you see in his spirit and how the Ukrainians are fighting, you have senior citizens with weapons. Doesn't that represent all the reasons we formed NATO and all those people died fighting this kind of despot, and that we should do more?
Yeah.
Congressman, will there be debate about a no-fly zone? And obviously, President Zelenskyy is insisting that is still what they need. And for, I think, obvious reasons, the U.S. has been hesitant to do that. But will there be debate about that after his speech this morning?
Absolutely. First of all, it's being called escalatory. We've done it before in Libya. We've done it before in Bosnia. And it's escalatory. But, you know, months ago, I was told that the kind of sanctions we're levying are out of question because they're escalatory. Well, now they're standard practice. And lethal weapons were out of the question. But now they have ammunition, stingers, and javelins. And the president just gave another long list a short time ago of other aid that we're going to give. I don't think we're being escalatory. I think we're matching the threat that's out there. And unless we're prepared to continue to do that, we need to be prepared to see additional scenes of maternity hospitals flattened, escape routes for humanitarian aid, and people just getting out of the country blocked, and a liberal democratic country flattened, eliminated from the face of the earth, with the realization that he's not just got his eyes set on Ukraine, but restoring the former Soviet Union. And finally, that this indiscriminate bombing and the threat of chemical attacks, an atomic plant with 6 units, and they wouldn't even let them put out the fire. So Chernobyl was 1 unit, and look what it did. 6 units getting to that level would have been catastrophic for all of Europe. The threat is to all of us.
It's really both inspiring and terrifying at the same time, isn't it?
It is. We agonize over these decisions. I am not angry with anybody who disagrees with me. I know what they're going through. But I think we need to remind ourselves of what a past generation went through and remind ourselves that we weren't ever going to let that happen again. We have to meet that moment today.
Well, look, this was such an incredible day, and it is so moving. We appreciate the time. And Congressman, I apologize for this, but I've kind of noticed what's behind you. And as someone who shattered his hip on a bicycle, I want you to be careful, okay?
Be careful with it. See?
Well, the bikes haven't hurt me. It's that hockey net. About 7 surgeries from being silly enough to play hockey is still at 63. But, you know, this place is frustrating. It's my way of getting all those frustrations out.
Congressman, enjoy the ice. Be careful out there. And we will be talking to you about what, if anything, Congress is going to do.
Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again, gentlemen.